Well, outrage tonight after the death of an elderly man in Toronto who had been forced out of his own home. As Mark McAllister explains, many feel it's a tragedy that could have been avoided.
Al Gosling was known to many as a nice man who simply fell on hard times. The last few months couldn't have been harder.
Shuffling in the streets of Toronto all day, not having a kitchen to cook, not having any place to get good food, living in shelter after shelter after shelter.
Al passed away over the weekend at 82 years old, sick in hospital after being kicked out of his apartment. He had been in community housing, and when he failed to declare his limited income, they upped his rent to a market rate he couldn't afford.
It was the difference, so the difference of what he had been paying in past and now his new rental rate that over time he accumulated basically arrears over the past 3 years.
Toronto Housing claims they followed due process and tried to avoid eviction. It appears it wasn't enough.
Back in June, when Al Gosling returned home to this building he had lived in for decades, he found his door locked and nowhere to go. He ended up sleeping under the stairs before being taken to hospital, then a shelter where he picked up an infection.
Friends and neighbors took Global News inside the space where Al had tucked himself away, just steps from the second-floor apartment he considered a safe haven.
We want answers. We're in the same boat, you know what I mean? Can happen to us.
Toronto Housing has since announced an independent third-party review of the case, but others see this as a much larger province-wide issue.
This is a systemic problem, and if they review that one particular case, the time it will take them to review that case, one will hear about another 30, 40, 50, 100 cases that are ongoing.
A feeling echoed by those witnessing the tragedy firsthand.
How many other Al Goslings are there right now? How many of them are there who don't have an advocate? And how many do we know who may be dying?
Mark McAllister, Global News.